Good day, my mighty baboon. We are back in our Factorio walkthrough. In the last episode, we automated gears and circuits, and today the objective is going to be simple. We want to add red science and green science to our base, and the objective is going to be to produce 100 of them per second. However, before we do that, we will need to decide where we are going to place our labs on our base, and I am probably not going to put them too close to the smelters. I will want to place them a little further east. And the reason I'm going to do that is that later science packs, like the blue, yellow and purple ones, will require more advanced components, and these components are going to be built further east. And to keep things clean, I don't want to have a lot of items on the bus that are going to flow from the east back to the west. As much as I can, I would like to keep things flowing from the west to the east. While we are here, let's also review the changes that I made since the last episode. As you can see here, I added fast inserters all the way for the gears, both for the input and the output. That way they can work at their full capacity. I also completed the green circuits production. As you can see here, we are producing a little more than a full yellow belt. And another thing that I did was to remove the balancers that were at the beginning of the bus. And I placed new balancers, one at the end of each block. And I just put output balancers because we already have input and output balancers out of these smelters. Alright, with that out of the way, let's choose a research. And then we are going to place our labs. I am going to choose Logistics 2 at the moment, and I have a very specific reason to choose this one. It's going to unlock fast belts, underground belts, and splitters. However, at that stage of the game, I'm going to unlock that for the underground belts, because if you remember, we are limited with yellow underground belt to 4 tiles underground, and the fast underground belts can travel underground 6 tiles. So what that will let me do is join lane 6x6 instead of 4x4 on the bus, and that way we will save a little space, and we will be able to cram a few more belts on the bus. So here we are. It's not easy to know how many labs we will need to support 100 science per second. And the reason is that every research has a different research speed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place 20 labs at the moment, and then we will see how it goes. If we see that we are overproducing packs, I will place it more later. So I'm going to chain the labs 2 by 2. Let's place them here. I'm going to copy this group of 4. And I'm going to paste them until I have 20 of them. I'm just going to let one space between them. This is so that we have enough space to put poles and lamps. Okay, so now let's place all the labs. And let's place inserters so that the lab on the right is going to fit science to the lab on the left. You can daisy change labs like that, and you can go deeper. Usually you should be fine with 3 to 4 labs deep. If you try to put more, the inserters are not going to work fast enough, and you will have supply problems. So we place a belt on the right, that's where the red and green science are going to come from, and we place inserters that will take the science from the belt to the labs. We then need to place pole to bring electricity. I also need to put a few down here so that the labs on the left are supported. And finally, just to make things nice and crisp in the night, I'm going to put lamps. Good, that looks nice. So the first line is going to bring red and green. We will then have a second lane that is going to bring blue and black science. The third one is going to bring yellow and purple. And the last one is going to be for white. And right now you might be wondering, how are we going to take items from 4 tiles away? And don't worry about that, we will see that later. Right now you will just have to trust me that it is possible. So now we are ready for the next step, and that's going to produce red science. That's the simplest of them. We just need to have copper plates and gears. And the main thing that we'll have to do is to figure out the ratios so that we can produce 100 red science per second. One assembler is going to produce 6 red science per second. So to produce 100, we are going to need at least 17 of them. And just to have an even number, I don't like odd numbers, I'm going to put 18 of them. So with 18 assemblers, we are going to produce 108 red science per second. So let's get started. Let's put the 18 assemblers. I'm going to group them 2 by 2. You might be wondering why I often group things 2 by 2. It is just an habit that I have. That will make sense once we unlock the next tier of electrical poles. They will have a bigger reach, and when you place them between this group of 2 assemblers, they just have enough reach to cover all the assembler area. Anyway, we have placed all of them, and so now we need to decide where is going to be the input and where is going to be the output. Since the labs are on the left, it seems to make more sense to put the output on the left. And so the belt here on the right is going to be a belt of copper plates and gears. Let's also put 2 poles. And let's see. We will need 2 inputs, and they are going to arrive here. One is going to be for the gears, the other for the plates. We are going to join the 2 belts here, and that should be enough to supply all the assemblers. So now let's drag the belts. And so this is going to be the output, so I'm going to turn it around and bring it to the labs. And now we just have to put the inserters. Let's pour all that. And we should be good. Oh, I forgot one last thing. I just need to copy the recipe to all the assemblers. So shift right click on the first one and then shift left click on the other ones. And we are good. Now to start producing the packs, we just need to connect the inputs. So I'm going to go back to the bus and we are going to take plates and gears from it. So let's take the copper plates from here. It doesn't matter which belt we take from because we have a balancer just before. And to cross the 6 belts on the bus, I will need to wait to have the fast underground belts. So we are going to place the gears first. I'm going to take them from here. And so I will need to put underground belts to separate the gears from the circuits and to bring the gears south. Let's remove these circuits and we should only have gears now, yes. And because Logistics 2 is far from being finished, let's take a small break. We are back and Logistics 2 is finished, so now I'm able to produce fast underground belts. I'm going to produce a few of them. For the most part, we are going to stick with yellow belts because red belts are really costly for us at the moment and we don't really have a need for that at the moment. We just need a few underground belts. So you see now we can cross 6 belts and that let us take the copper plates. I'm going to put another set of underground belts here, just in provision of the belt that is going to be here. And now we just have to connect everything. And let's see if it works. While we're here, let's also choose the next research. What do we have? Heavy armor is not bad. The tool belt is also interesting. Let me research the tool belt. It's going to expand our inventory. And in this game, we never have enough inventory space. So the copper plates and the gears are coming. And it starts producing red science. Great. That's always the most satisfying part in Factorio, when finally your design, even if it's a simple one, starts to produce. So now we are going to start the green science. So for the green science, we will need gears, iron plates, and circuits. We will need to build inserters and belts. So on the left lane here, that's going to be the output of the inserters, and the second lane on the left is going to be the circuits. On the right, on these belts, I'm going to put gears and iron plates, and on the other side, I'm going to put the assemblers for the belts. I don't have underground belts anymore, let's produce a few more. And so here we will have the plates and the gears. And then below that we will have the assemblers for the green packs. They are going to be here. So now we need to figure out the ratios. So we are going to work backward. So we start from the science. One assembler produces 5 science per minute, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio between the input and the output. So that means if we want to produce 100 green science, we will also need to produce 100 inserters and 100 belts. So as you can see, one assembler produces 60 inserters, and the belts is going to produce 120 inserters. So one assembler is enough for the belts, but for the inserters, we will need 2 of them. Let's start to put the underground belts for the input. So one of these will be for the circuits here. And then we have the iron and the gears. Let's connect them. And that's not perfect, that's not going to line up. I can only take the circuits from here. That's not going to look perfect, but I think we can live with that for the moment. We will solve that later. Yeah, it's kind of ugly. It's something I will probably going to fix between this episode and the next one. So let's connect the circuits. And now let's work on the plates and the gears. Previously, we took the gears from the bottom belt, so this time I'm going to take them from the top one. If you take both from the bottom one, that's okay. You just need to put a splitter between the 2 inputs to balance things out. Let's also take plates. To keep things easy, I'm going to take them from the bottom belt. Oh, a yellow belt is enough here. So let me replace that. And of course I misplaced it. It had to be 1 tile further away east, so let me change that. And now we should be fine. Good, now that the inputs are connected, let's go back to the assemblers and let's add some inserters. So this is going to be the output. Then we will need long inserters to take the circuits. And we need 2 more inputs here. Oops, wrong side, I need to turn it around. Same thing for the belts, it uses the same input. And then on the other side, we'll have the output. Now we just need to pour all that. And with that, we have the first step for the green circuits. We have all the intermediary products. I don't like that it's so dark here, so let me put some lamps too. I just don't like the night. Later in the game, we are going to unlock night goggles. It's not really useful, but it's really a nice quality of life improvement. So as soon as we can produce one, I'm going to be very happy and I'm going to equip them. While I am putting lamps, you can also see all the red science that we have already produced, and I can't wait that we already have green science. You will see how fast we can research after that. So let's go back to our assemblers, and let's see if it's starting to produce belts and inserters. We do not have inserters yet. Let me put lamps first too. Yes, I haven't connected the circuits, so I will need to do that before it starts to produce inserters. But let me take the belts first. We are going to bring the belts to the middle. We don't need gears and plates here, so let me remove a few belts. And so we are going to join the belts and the inserters and bring them to the right of the green science assemblers. Good, and so now what we need to do, if you remember, each assembler were producing 5 science per second, so if we want to produce 100 of them, in total I will need to put 20 assemblers. So I have already 4 here, I'm going to finish these ones, put the inserters. So on each side we'll have output. And then we just need a few poles. Good, it's already taking the inserters and the belts, and it should start to produce green science. I don't know why I put the circuit so far away, I just need to have them until there. And so now the only thing we have to do to finish the green science is to copy this design until we have 20 assemblers and to take the green science belts back to the labs. So let's paste the design 8, 12, 16, and 20. So before we build everything, I'm just going to drag these 2 belts. And I'm going to connect it to the labs. Just need to put the 2 belts together. So to do that, we can just use a splitter. And then we need to take this belt and connect it to the belt that has the red science. And we will want one lane with red and one lane with green. And that should do the trick. And now we just need to build everything. I'm going to skip that part because there is nothing really interesting to show you. And we are back. So we have all our assemblers built, but I have one issue. I don't know if you can see it, but we are not producing enough inserters and enough belts. So let's have a look for the belts. We are not taking belts out of the assemblers fast enough. So let's replace the inserter with a fast inserter. And it seems to be the same thing with the inserters. So let's put fast inserters here too. Okay, we even have this problem for the input on the belts. And let's have a look now. That looks much better. We should be fine now. Yep, some of them are still not working, but they will be soon as the belts and inserters arrive on the belt. And if we check the throughput, we are producing exactly 100 green science per second. And you can see our labs are already starting to research. So that's great, and it's going to greatly speed up our research. 108 science per second for the reds, and 100 for the greens. While we are here, let's have a quick look about our energy consumption. Okay, we are fine. We really do not need more power. The assembling machines start to consume a lot, but we are still okay. And that's going to be it for today. The next objective, now that we have the green and the red science, is going to be producing military sirens back, but one of the byproducts that we will need to produce that is steel. And that's probably what we are going to do in the next episode. We are going back to our smelters and look at a design to produce one full belt of steel. I hope that you liked the video. If you did, don't forget to add a like and subscribe to the channel, and see ya!